production is quite a lucrative business, very viable, and especially if you manage to raise your maize in winter when there's less maize. But with maize production, you find you can grow it particularly in low altitude area where it is frost free, and at the same time any soil type you can grow your green mealies as long as it's deep and well drained soil. With green mealie, the way you produce your green mealie is exactly the same way when you're producing your maize for grain. In this case, we are looking at your soil pH. You have to make sure that your soil pH is between 5.5 and 6.8, and at the same time you have to have your soils analyzed so that you are informed of the type of basal fertilizer to apply, at the same time the rate to apply. Otherwise you might under apply or you might over apply, and as a result you make a loss as well as your top dressing fertilizer. As you can see on this crop here, this crop is well established. If you look at the crop, it's quite healthy. The leaves are clean, as you can see, and the establishment, it means when this seed was planted, it came out with good vigor. It's even if you look at the stalk, it might look you see, it's quite thick and healthy, and it's growing very well. And if you look at the leaves, they are quite green and healthy as well. This is what we look at as a crop. So as your crop emerges like this, what follows now is to make sure that your water application is up to date. Make sure you apply adequate water. Some, they apply 2 liters of water twice a week. Some actually put it once a day, depending on how hot it is, and depending on the evaporation of water from the soil and the evapotranspiration of water from the leaves as well. And if you look at this field here, it's very clean, of which this is what we recommend, that you have to keep your land clean. And that's one big advantage with drip irrigation, because drip irrigation, it puts water or places water exactly where it is needed, and where it leaves the area a bit dry, you won't see any weeds growing. But in the event that you have got weeds growing, make sure you use your pre-emergence herbicide as you plant, and then post-emergence herbicide before 4 weeks after emergence. And then make sure if there are any other stubborn weeds, you can do spot spray, or you can go in and put the weeds out. So weed management is very critical. And as you can see on this maize here, already at this stage, this is what 1 2 3 4 leaf stage, 1 2 3 4 4 5 leaf stage. Already there is 4 armyworm in, as young as it is. So we also recommend that you also scout for pests, and make sure you spray according to recommendations, and make sure you change your pesticides as you go. And if you look at this crop here, it's still growing, and it's using the nutrients in the seed for it to establish to this stage. But from this stage here, you find we have to move on to the stage where we are going to top dress our maize. Vegetative management is very critical, where we have to fall in love with our crop. We have to move in our field different directions, zigzag, or we cross, or we any direction, to scout for pests and diseases. If you find any discoloration on leaves, it's advisable to take the leaf sample, take it to your agronomist, or invite Agritechs or any agronomist who will give you the agronomic services for identification, and also the recommendation of the right chemical to use to correct the discoloration, and as well as also scouting for pests. And then if you see any damage which you don't understand, it's also advisable to take a specimen or a sample to your extension services man, so that they help you to identify and the corrective measure. Like in this case, you find that we've got 2 damaged crops. This one here, it was damaged, but if you look at it, it was damaged well before. So already the new leaves here are fresh and nice. It means there was control, good control of this pest here, which is a 4 armyworm. That's why our crop is coming out clean and growing. But it's different if you look at this crop here. If you look at this crop here, if you inspect well, there's this fluff here, which are the droppings or waste from the 4 armyworm. It means the 4 armyworm is still there, so you need now to make sure you come in with another spray of your armyworm. But again, if you look at this crop here, if you inspect it well, there is a 4 armyworm here which is dead. It means just a few days ago it was sprayed and there was good control of the 4 armyworm, because you can actually see the pest. Let me just get a pointer here. You see here, that's the black, that's the 4 armyworm here, and it's dead. It means there was good control of 4 armyworm, of which that's what we recommend. Identify and spray so that at least there's proper control. So at this stage, this is what is very critical. And at this stage again, you can actually apply your first top dressing fertilizer. And your first top dressing fertilizer, depending with the soil analysis results, you can actually, if you are using 400 kgs per hectare, you do split application, where we are saying with split application, your first application has to be half, which is 200 kgs. At this stage of our crop, our top dressing fertilizer has to be about 10 to 12 centimeters away from the plant. You can see where they have placed their fertilizer here. It's exactly around that length, such that the roots, as they are growing, they grow away from the stalk, so they grow outwards. So our rooting system is almost somewhere here. So if you put our fertilizer, if it dissolves, gets into the soil, at least it gets to the tip of the root, and then it's easily absorbed into the plant through the roots, into the stalk, for the development of the roots, development of the stalk. But most importantly, this is top dressing fertilizer. It's for the vegetative growth and the green coloration, which is the factory of the plant, for the good formation of the cob, at the same time the good growth of the whole plant. And selection of a variety is very critical when it comes to green mealies. We need to grow a green mealie which has got a very good kernel, which has got a very good cob, and length of the cob, and also the thickness of the cob mustn't be too thick and it mustn't be too thin. It must be average size, and the tip cover must also be covered very well. It should have a good taste, which is a sweet taste, and also the smell, which is the aroma of a green mealie, and it has to have a good shelf life, where when you are buying and selling your green mealie, you should last at least 3 days selling your green mealie, still maintaining those qualities of a green mealie. That way you find a person who's selling will be able to make money on more days or longer days. Unlike if it loses quality very fast, it means you end up throwing away quite a lot of maize. As our maize continues to grow, we have to keep checking and scouting for pests and diseases. But if you look at this maize here, it's very clean. There are no damages of pests, and as well as there are no diseases. So we have to keep monitoring our crop as it grows, because we are almost getting to a tassel stage. And again, this is when we do our final top dressing at this stage here, where we are now placing our fertilizer just some 25-30 centimeters away from the plant, because the roots, if you try to dig, you find the roots are growing outwards. So as the fertilizer melts, it dissolves or melts, it gets in, and then it gets into the plant through the roots for the formation of the leaves, and also the growth of the cob, because potentially the cob is manufactured or is made at six leaf stage, whereby we have to make sure our management is very tight at that stage. So as our crop is growing, let's keep monitoring. Let's make sure that we keep applying the water as per recommendation. We can now, as it grows bigger, we can now increase our water amount to 3 liters per station, per cycle, and this will make sure that we get the right crop. And as we are selecting our varieties again, you find this crop is very clean, but somehow you find 1 or 2 plants with maize streak. But if you look at this maize streak here, it means this variety has got good tolerance of maize streak because it's still growing at the same stage and same level as other maize, meaning that the maize, the maize streak virus in this here it's not growing, it's just stagnant, and it shows some resistance or tolerance to maize streak. Because if you look at these lesions here, they are yellow, yes, but there's also a green part of it. And even if you look at this here, it's not live MSV, it's dead MSV because it's not developing, it's not growing, it's just stagnant, meaning that this variety here, and if you look across, you hardly see MSV in this crop here, which means it is the right variety when it comes to disease tolerance, and in particular maize streak virus. But also at the same time, if you are getting a variety which is tolerant to maize streak virus, it means that you also have to dress your seed with gaucho or cruiser, just to make sure that your crop remains clean, because you are growing maize in winter where there's no any other green stuff around except if you've got a bit of wheat, but still all the same, so that at least you address the issue of MSV at planting, because once your crop is attacked by MSV when it's growing already, there's no way you can control that MSV unless if you dress your seed at pre-planting, so that at least it remains clean. So in this particular crop here, we are looking at ZAP 73, this portion, and the other portion is ZAP 63, of which these are the varieties we highly recommend for green mealies, because they give you a good crop, which is good length, good size, good taste, good tip cover. And if you want a quick turnover, you grow ZAP 43, which is a short season variety. And all the same, the cob is fairly good, and it also gives you a good taste, good shelf life, and also good size and good tip cover. All the qualities of green mealies, you find them in ZAP 43, in ZAP 63, in ZAP 73, and with that you're good to go. Get your money, put your money in the bank, and put it where your mouth is correctly. Otherwise, if you misuse it, you end up crying foul. As you can see, we are getting to the final stages of our maize, whereby our maize is forming very well. If you look at this cob here, the cobs are growing very well. Of course, in this case, you find the plant population is a bit sparse, so you have got a tendency of getting 2 cobs per plant. But the 2 cobs you are going to get is only one which will give you money. The other one will be slightly smaller, of which you can't sell it at the same price as the bigger or the main cob. So the cob has got to be long enough. As you can see here, it's quite long enough, and as it is developing, it must be very clean, and it must have a very good tip cover, because if the tip is open, the birds will come and damage. No one would want to buy a damaged cob. So the good green coloration and all that, and if you look at the cob, is very clean, or they are very clean, no sign of pest damage, just because the pest, especially the fall armyworm, was controlled at an early stage, leaving the whole plant very clean. And the pollination was very good as well, because if you feel, it's filled to the tip, because there was very good synchronization between the pollen and the silk. So as a result, it's giving us this very good cob. So the tendency of this variety is ZAP 63 is that it pollinates very well. It gives you a clean cob, very long enough and big enough, so that at least you're able to sell it all to the people, because it must be eye-catching, it must be very attractive, it must be tasty, it must have a very good good shelf life. If you look at this, if you smell these leaves, the fresh smell you are getting from the leaves here, it must be the same fresh smell on the cob, and that smell of freshness must last at least 3 days, so that at least the shelf life becomes 3 days or 4 days, longer period, so that you've got a longer period of selling your cobs attractively to the people, and they must still enjoy that aroma and the taste for those 3 days. So these are the typical attributes of a green mealie. So with green mealies, you are not only selling a cob, but the stalks which you are leaving in, you can still chop them. When you cut, you can make silage out of this, and silage you can feed your cattle, you can feed your goats, you can actually feed your cattle, your dairy cattle. If you don't have any livestock, you can actually sell this the silage to the people who have got livestock, beef or dairy. And if you let them dry, say you've got a lot of work to do, you can let them dry. After they've dried the stock, you can actually urea treat them, or you can Mabico treat them. That's value addition, and then you sell to the people who have got livestock. You can use it on your livestock if you have any livestock on the farm.
Hello, I'm Ato Chimuka. I am 24 years old. I live in Harare. This is our farm in Kadoma. So we are doing our farming in Kadoma. So right now I'm doing maize production with my father. This is a family business. So I'm pretty much learning from my father on how to do agriculture as a young person, and I think it is an advantage for you to start doing business as a young person, because it actually helps you in providing for the nation, family, as well as making money, which is the goal for every business. So this is our maize production. This is 1 hectare. It's about 50,000 plants, I would just guess, but I think it's around that figure. So this is what we are doing, and we are doing it in winter, which is an advantage because we would make more money, because not many farmers are doing maize production in winter because of the cold. Here in Kadoma we have the advantages of the temperatures, so it gives us an upper hand in doing maize production. So when we actually harvest, we are expecting to make more money because it's winter time. I think with agriculture, the first thing is you need to fall in love with it. You need to fall in love with the crops, the process as well. So for maize, we actually started to spray it in the first week with power pest for the armyworm. So that is the only pest we've actually managed to see in maize, and it's easy to attack. So you just need to make sure you're checking the crop, and you're spraying almost just every week, just to make sure that there's no pest in the maize. And then for watering, we use drip irrigation. It's very cheap, and it also saves water as well, because for us, we're using bowls. We don't have a reservoir or a dam close by, so we use the drip irrigation from our bowls. It's easy and it saves water. It just maybe 3 hours to water the plant, and it's actually efficient because it only provide the water on the plant. So it's actually efficient compared to other irrigation method. I would recommend drip irrigation, especially for maize. A lot of people will be asking me, I haven't seen drip irrigation in maize. We actually using drip irrigation. It's actually efficient. As you can see, our crop is healthy, so it's actually a good thing. So I would recommend drip irrigation for your crops. We actually go Mbare. That's one of the big markets everywhere in Zimbabwe. Those guys would come here and they just buy the whole farm. And then we also have Remuka in Kadoma. It's one of the big markets as well. So we have to go there and tell them, show them, we go with a sample, we show them this is what we are selling and how big the land is. So they will come. If not, we just harvest. Then we go with the maize to Remuka. They are the guys who do the coach bag. They will just come and buy. So the market is very good, especially in Kadoma. In Kadoma, the market is okay. Farming, it was more with my father. He has always been coming to this land. He actually he spends, I would say, 60% of his life at the farm. So as a son, as his firstborn son, you have to sometimes look at your father and follow his steps and see what he's doing. So I ended up falling in love with farming. I'm also doing my projects here as well on side, just to learn and apply the knowledge that I'm getting from my father.
You know, with green mealies, you don't have to cry foul that you failed to sell your maize. If the price is not attractive, keep your maize. When it's now almost at hard dough stage, when it's hard now that you can't eat as green mealies, you can now boil it, and then what you do is you prepare a short and bigger, slightly bigger greenhouse where you put your shelving in. You boil your cobs without the husk. When you boil it, you put it in there, it dries up in there because it's smart, it's clean, and you have to make sure where you're boiling it is clean pots as well, those huge industrial pots. You boil them in there, and then you dry them smartly where there's no dust, where it is clean, and then you now shell it, and then you clean it, pack it, and send as green, boiled, dried green mealie, and it's called mumare. Where you can actually use groundnuts, you can use, especially with cowpeas, it's a delicate meal where actually people enjoy because it has got a different taste and flavor altogether. Some farmers, when they fail to get a good market, they let it dry and say, okay, I'm getting for sadza. And no, you are not value adding, you're actually making a loss because there's a lot of maize there for sadza. But if you do mumare, that's something unique and is different. You have already added value to your green mealie so that it gives you more value without any loss. So you've cut on transport, you've cut on stress to say, oh, my maize is overgrown, I can't sell it anyway. No, don't be stressed. You can still make better money with mumare than green mealie. As you can see now, this is the outcome of the maize, which is very good. You see the good tip cover, and also your cobs are filled to the tip, which is a typical type of variety would want. And this is a Zap 63 variety. So yeah, which is very good, and I like the cobs, which is very nice. So as a youngster, do you think you are going to be able to make money out of your maize?
Yes, I think I'll be able to make money because of the season. It's winter right now, so not many farmers are doing maize farming right now. Most people are doing cabbages and stuff, so that it will be an advantage for me because I'll be most probably one of the farmers who sell maize. So on the price aspect, I'll be an advantage.
Yeah. I think of value adding, putting a fire by the roadside, you roast, you boil some so that you can say, hey, chibage, by the roadside, and make extra money because what you are going to sell is green. You find that it's not as highly paying as when you've roasted or you've boiled.
Yes, yeah. Our farm is actually at the road, so it's an advantage. You can actually do that. You can actually put a fire there and then start doing the roasting and then start selling on the road. A lot of cars will be passing by, they'll be buying, which is as you're saying, I'll actually get more money from that as compared to selling to the other guys who do the roasting later on. So I think I'll focus on that as well.
I think I know your road better than you. There's a lay-by.
Yes.
That, make use of that lay-by. Yes. Mm-hmm. Where there's enough parking space and without interferences and safe parking and all that. Yeah. All right.
I'll do that exactly.
Ato, this is beautiful. I emulate this. And this is good, so I'm going with this
okay, yes,
for boiling and okay, good.
Fine.
Thank you. Okay, keep up the
much.
good work, and would want to see you doing more.
Okay.
As much as you're starting business studies, it's excellent because this is business. We're taking farming as a business. So as any other business, you have to sit down, plan, strategize, implement all that, and make money at the end of it. So we want to see you encouraging other youth who are doing their studies to go into farming as well, so that at least they're able to make a living out of this. Because I've seen you've got a lot of people working in the field. It means you've already created employment for other people. So let's learn to create employment so that at least we resolve the issue of unemployment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good. And stay drug free.
Yes, definitely.
And tell other youth to stay.
Yes, you need to stay drug free to everyone, to the youth. do farming. Farming is way better than drugs.
Good, thank you. Green mealie production is a bit tricky. If you are in winter, in frost-prone areas, it is very important to select which crop to grow in winter, because if you try to grow maize in winter, you end up coming across a lot of challenges. You'll find, if you look at this maize here, it was hit by maize streak virus, MSV. So if you are growing maize in winter, you have to make sure that your seed is tolerant to MSV, or you dress your seed with gaucho or cruiser or any other fungicide, just to make sure that you address the issue of maize streak virus. But the worst thing is frost damage. You find this crop here, huge investment. You can see there's a drip line here, and the fertilizer used, the fuel used, the labor, everything, all that cost was put in this crop here. But only one night, frost just came, it hit the crop, and now the farmer can't talk of anything else besides probably to cut off this and make silage, which they can sell to dairy people or even people who have got livestock, but the return is not as per their expectation. So making the right choice in winter on which crop to put is the best.